She was chosen as a punchline in the ring. What happened next was incredibly transformative. Emma Sullivan stood in the town's small gym, the smell of sweat mingling with the faint sound of laughter flooding in from the adjacent hall. How had it come to this? Just days ago, she was still unpacking boxes at her father's house, grappling with grief and a sense of failure. Now, she was supposed to be the star of a makeshift boxing match, the punchline of a cruel joke played by the townsfolk who had long labeled her the underdog. The thought twisted in her stomach. She wanted to vanish. The crowd roared, a mix of old friends and estranged acquaintances feasting on the spectacle. They would cheer, they would jeer, all while unwittingly poking at her wounds. "Look at Emma Sullivan, thinking she can box," someone shouted. Laughter erupted, and with it, dredged up memories of her father's disappointed gaze, the times he had told her to pursue something more respectable. In that moment, Emma felt small, exposed, the laughter echoing like nails on a chalkboard. Was she just a joke? Fear gnawed at her as she faced some twisted moral dilemma: to walk away, reclaim her dignity, or to remain, cement the label they placed on her. Her chest tightened. This wasn't just about the ring or the match, it was about acceptance, about proving she could be more than just the sum of her struggles. The weight of her single motherhood loomed large on her shoulders, a constant reminder that she had to be strong, to be more for her daughter. Yet with each chuckle from the crowd, that burden felt heavier. While the laughter faded into muffled whispers, the voices in her head grew louder. "You're inadequate. You're failing. You can't be both a mother and pursue your dreams." They echoed the very values she was raised with, but now they felt like shackles. Would her daughter understand if she were to lose herself, getting knocked down in the ring of life? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Stripped of an escape from the growing tension in her mind, Emma realized she was standing at a crossroad. The ring could either bind her to pathetic laughter or set her on a path to reclaiming herself. The elders in the crowd gazed down at her. She could feel their judgment, the weight of their expectations smothering her. What would her mother think? Would she see it as a reckless detour? As the reality hit her, and the bell chimed, Emma hesitated. A silence fell over the room, and time slowed. Every glance felt like a stab. She was about to confront more than just her opponent. Panic surged through her veins. This was her chance to pull herself from the dark shadows of ridicule, but could she do it? Emma breathed deeply, grappling with that burning question. In a town that had never quite seen her as enough, could she rise to become something more? The anticipation crashed over her like a wave, pushing her into unknown depths. The moment before she stepped into the ring felt like an eternity. And just like that, in front of familiar faces, their laughter now encased in an electric tension, Emma stood on the precipice of transformation. Would she embrace the fight, or would she remain the punchline of a joke that lingered long after tonight? Emma took a steadying breath, her heart pounding with a rhythm that matched the anticipation in the air. The crowd's murmurs blended into a dull roar, and she focused on the glint of the ring ropes, sharp reminders of the boundaries between herself and what she fought against: the doubt, the judgment, the heavy legacy of expectation. She stepped forward, the ground beneath her feet solidifying as she demanded the ground she stood on. Each movement was deliberate, her legs shaking not from fear, but from the sheer weight of the choice ahead. With her palms sweating, she ascended into the center of the ring, where light and shadow danced around her. The referee approached, and she felt a momentary surge of adrenaline. Would they still be laughing when she proved them wrong? For the first time in years, she envisioned her daughter watching her with pride rather than embarrassment. This was a chance not just to confront the crowd, but to reclaim something deeply personal. Emma locked eyes with her opponent, a tall and muscular woman known for her speed. In that moment, she realized the fight wasn't just physical, it was an embodiment of everything she'd been wanting to express but never could. The round began, and the first punch came toward her. She ducked instinctively, recalling the lesson from her coach about timing. Reacting too fast could lead to mistakes. A glimmer of confidence filled her. Rather than retreating, Emma advanced, weaving and countering, integrating movements she had practiced long into the night while her daughter slept. Each punch thrown was not just a blow, it was a testament to her resilience. The crowd gasped as she landed a strike. Laughter ebbed momentarily, replaced by a collective inhale. The familiar faces that had once jeered now blinked, surprised. Emma felt the prickly heat of their scrutiny transform into something different: curiosity. She began to breathe in their changing energy, feeding off their stunned silence like an unexpected fuel. As the rounds unfolded, muscle memory took over. Yet this wasn't just about the physical battle, it was about empowerment. With every jab, she saw the faces of her doubters morphing into those of supporters. They were beginning to understand that she was not merely a punchline. Each hit she took was not a setback, it became a stepping stone, a connection that bridged her identity as both a mother and a fighter. But just as the weight of determination anchored her, a sudden blow knocked her back. Time seemed to rip open, and the pain shot through her, eliciting a brief flash of doubt. Was she really strong enough for this? Silence swallowed the gym for a heartbeat as she staggered but caught herself, thrusting her hands into the air, challenging the shadows within her. With barely a second to rally, she felt a surge of desperation morph into fierce resolve. This was no longer about proving everyone wrong, it was about validating herself. With an unrelenting spirit, she launched forward, exchanging a flurry of punches that culminated in a crescendo of strength. But just as she began to feel invincible, a nerve inside her sparked with awareness, a realization that transcended the physical bout. What if she could champion more than herself? A thought flickered in her mind: maybe this fight wasn't just for her, it was a rallying cry for all who felt less than. Could she inspire others to step through their own shadows? The bell rang, and as she turned to face the crowd, Emma met their eyes anew. No longer were they merely faces filled with doubt, they were witnesses to her evolution. In that moment of clarity, she took a step back, nerves quieted with purpose. But in the midst of this newfound understanding, the smell of sweat and sounds of cheers still looming, she knew there were deeper battles ahead. Would she be able to use this momentum to fight for her dreams beyond the ring? The stakes had raised. Could she stand firm as both a competitor and a beacon of hope for others? The realization ignited a fire within her. The fight was no longer confined to the ring, it had become a catalyst for a greater journey that awaited her. And in that instant, the crowd roared again, but this time, Emma didn't just hear laughter or judgment, she felt an invitation to redefine what success meant for her. The moment was ripe, the challenge was on the horizon as she stepped out of the ring, looking up at the faces that had once doubted her but now, perhaps for the first time, were truly listening. What would she do with the attention now? What came next would determine her legacy. Emma stepped out of the ring, the adrenaline still coursing through her veins, fueling a newfound determination. As the echoes of cheering mingled with her thoughts, the weight of the crowd's gaze shifted. Gone was the laughter and scorn, now, she could almost feel their collective breath held in anticipation of what she might do next. With each step toward the exit, she grappled with the realization that this fight was not an isolated incident. It was a catalyst, igniting aspirations she had long buried under layers of self-doubt. She had pushed past the confines of her fears, but what did this victory truly mean for her beyond the physical win? The thoughts twisted in her mind, each one sparking ideas about how to shape her path forward. Driving home that day, Emma's thoughts were a chaotic blend of excitement and anxiety. Her daughter's face surfaced in her mind, innocent, bright, eyes wide with pride. What examples had she set before this moment? And how could she continue to inspire her? The realization struck her, this victory could symbolize something much greater than personal triumph, it could serve as a breakthrough moment for both of them. That night, she sat at the kitchen table, the remnants of dinner scattered around like last-minute excuses. She grabbed a clean sheet of paper and began writing. Emma wasn't just crafting resolutions or bucket lists, she was strategizing her next steps. She envisioned training programs for other women like her, those who had been underestimated, hoping to create a community where support eclipsed scorn. It was risky, wouldn't they, too, cringe at the idea of learning to fight? Would they shy away from the very notion of stepping into a ring? The uncertainty loomed over her like a thundercloud, but the flickering fire of purpose within her pushed through. The following weeks required her to adapt continually. Emma's routine shifted, no longer limited to her own training sessions. It expanded into scheduled meetings with local women's groups. Each interaction presented unique challenges: how to convey the message of empowerment without sounding preachy or naive. Sometimes, in the face of skepticism, she was tempted to retreat to the familiarity of self-doubt, but just as quickly as it arrived, she quelled it. Confrontation had fueled her resolve in the ring. Now, it accompanied her in these classrooms and community spaces. In those interactions, she discovered something else about herself: she was an impromptu speaker. Her words didn't just carry the weight of her journey but echoed with authenticity, capturing the attention of even the most reluctant listeners. She recalled sharing her initial hesitations, stories of defeat, and illuminating the internal battles that were often far more daunting than the physical ones. Excited murmurs rippled through the groups, catching fire as each woman began to articulate her own struggles with identity and strength. Yet, despite these budding connections, a lurking fear settled within her. What if she couldn't sustain this momentum? What if there were barriers that even her profound transformations couldn't dismantle? The shadow of self-doubt loomed heavier as she grappled with the potential for failure. Emma often awoke at night, brimming with ideas yet paralyzed by the fear of negativity creeping back into her life like an unwelcome guest. How could she present herself as a leader, a beacon of change, while still wrestling with her own vulnerabilities? Days turned into weeks, and the dialogues expanded, each one honing in on her resilience while prompting her to be unwavering in her belief. The safety net of her past was slowly unraveling, revealing threads of leadership woven into her character. Could she truly redefine herself, prove her worth to the world, and reshape expectations in the process? The thought pushed her forward, and as she planned her next steps, she began to see a path forming, one full of jagged edges and bright moments. The journey was just beginning. But then, while preparing for a speech at an upcoming women's forum, her phone buzzed with a message that made her heart drop, an anonymous note filled with derogatory remarks about her fight, her aspirations, and her abilities. The past came crashing back, and her confidence wavered as a chilling question arose: who would believe in her dreams now? As despair threatened to engulf her, she realized the importance of this moment. She stood at a crossroads where determination clashed with doubt. Would she allow this setback to derail her mission or use it to fuel her fire even further? The answer was within reach, yet the stakes had never been higher. What would she decide in this pivotal moment? And how would this affect her journey forward? Emma stared at the screen, her hand trembling slightly as she held her phone. The words in that anonymous message wrapped around her mind like a vice, squeezing tighter with each breath. Just a moment, she thought. Just a moment to breathe. But the weight of anger and confusion was heavy, a constant reminder of the voices that had taunted her throughout her life. Who do they think they are? She whispered to herself. In truth, it was not just the words of that anonymous accuser that unsettled her, it was the reflection of her old self. They triggered the self that had been defined by others' opinions. She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment, grounding herself as she felt the rush of determination stirring within. No, she mentally protested against the shadow of doubt. This isn't going to be my story. Emma realized she had a choice. She could spiral into the familiar abyss of self-criticism, retreating behind her walls, or she could confront this evidence of her vulnerability by reinforcing her resolve. I refuse to be defined by others' judgments, she vowed silently. It was time to turn the hate into something constructive, something that would further her mission of empowerment rather than obstruct it. Determined, she put the phone down and began drafting her speech for the forum. This time, she would open with a personal story, a testament to resilience, to growth, and to the challenges women continued to face. As the words flowed, they ignited a fire within her. The defeatism in the anonymous remark began to morph into a driving force. She would share both her triumphs and struggles, weaving her narrative into a tapestry of hope, inviting others to see the beauty in confronting their own battles. As the days passed leading up to the forum, Emma's voice found a potency it had never possessed before. Every interaction seemed to seep into her preparations. She visited women's shelters and community centers, sharing her journey and inviting young women to join her in training. Each session felt electric. She could see minds opening, walls crumbling. They spoke about their fears, their pasts. Emma felt their struggles resonate with her own, their rawness invigorating the cause she had unknowingly become a part of. That Friday evening, standing behind the podium with the warm glow of stage lights illuminating her face, she felt invincible. A murmur of anticipation buzzed through the room. Emma held her ground, her heart racing. The last remnants of doubt dissolved as she recalled the feelings that propelled her into the ring and ultimately led her to this moment. She was not just speaking, she was leading by example. Opening her mouth, she launched into her story, captivating the audience with vulnerability and strength. The energy shifted, palpable as women laughed, nodded, and even shared involuntarily whispered remarks in solidarity. She spoke not only of the victories, but also of her internal wars, the struggles that had threatened to derail her aspirations. As she neared the end of her speech, she paused. Her gaze met the eyes of women in the crowd who bore their own silent battles. "We are not defined by our pasts or by those who would dare to diminish us," she affirmed. "We are defined by our choices, by our courage to stand and rise every time we fall." Thunderous applause erupted, reverberating through her chest, echoing the unwavering beats of her heart. She felt alive, liberated from the chains she once thought were unbreakable. As she left the stage to a chorus of cheers, a surge of exhilaration shot through her. But as she stepped outside, her phone buzzed again, another message. Curiosity gnawed at her, tension back in her throat. Could it be a continuation of the negativity? Or perhaps an invitation to further journey? With her heart racing, she opened the message, bracing herself for what lay ahead. What she found could either shatter the freedom she had just fought for or introduce an unforeseen opportunity. The world was watching again, and with it came a new test of her resolve. How would she navigate this next chapter of her evolution? Would it challenge her newfound sense of identity, or propel her into realms of possibility she had yet to imagine? Emma's breath hitched as she read the message, her pulse quickening. The words themselves were not accusatory but compelling. "We should meet. I want to help." It struck her as a lifeline and a challenge all at once. Who was this person? Why now? The midnight hour drew close, and with it, a swelling mix of apprehension and excitement. She couldn't shake the feeling that this interaction would mark an inflection point in her journey. Rather than succumbing to fear, she resolved to seize control. This was her story to tell. She typed back a succinct affirmative, setting up a time to meet at a small cafe downtown. The prospect tangled her insides with both worry and wonder. As she allowed the possibilities to flood her mind, she recognized a formidable opportunity to step further into her identity. Was this a mentor, a partner, or something else entirely? In the hours leading up to the meeting, her focus on developing her purpose intensified. She practiced mental drills, conjuring scenarios of empowerment and support she envisioned for herself and those she sought to inspire. The meeting could lead toward yet another interaction that would bolster her mission. Energized, Emma took to her notepad again, filling pages with stories of resilience that formed the groundwork for what she might advocate if ever presented with the opportunity to establish her own program. Arriving at the cafe, she settled at a small table by the window, letting the bustle of the city wash over her while she sipped her coffee. Each tick of the clock seemed to amplify her anticipation. She forced herself to reflect instead on her accomplishments and the strength she had found after her speech. Moments later, a woman approached, her demeanor polished yet warm, someone with a presence that seemed to light up the space around her. "Emma?" she asked, with a hint of an inviting smile. They exchanged pleasantries, and as they sat, Emma found herself studying her companion's intent gaze, searching for clues to navigate this unexpected new dynamic. "I've been following your work since that speech," the woman began. "You have incredible potential to rally women into actionable change. What you've done so far is just the beginning." The compliment washed over Emma like sunlight, rekindling her sense of purpose. Together, they delved into a conversation rich with ideas about personal development and empowerment. The woman, Amelia, shared her background as a personal coach, having faced her own struggles that ultimately molded her into an advocate for women's empowerment. They dissected emotional barriers, societal expectations, and personal ambition, slowly unraveling the layers of their own experiences. The discussion naturally took on a motivational tone, but it was also intensely practical. They spoke about specific programs that could be structured to create an impactful support system for women facing struggles similar to their own. Emma could hardly contain herself as she envisioned her passion flowing into concrete initiatives, workshops, mentorship schemes, and collaborative projects. Yet, amid the inspiration, doubts crept in. Was she truly ready to collaborate on such a scale? What if her insecurities resurfaced, following her down this newly forged path? This was no longer about her alone, it was about impacting lives, pushing through her unease to bind together something greater than herself. As Amelia leaned in, her voice steady and encouraging, announcing upcoming opportunities that could center Emma stage, a fire ignited within. "Let us make something beautiful out of this," Amelia declared, an openness like an electric current connecting them. Emma felt that familiar uncertainty lurking, but alongside it emerged a powerful realization: she wasn't just a muscle in a ring, she was a force to be reckoned with. "Yes," she thought, "let's transform these challenges into stepping stones." With plans taking shape, Emma left the cafe invigorated, yet nervous, fully aware that her journey was just beginning. What lay ahead was daunting, a challenge that could either lift her to new heights or push her back into the shadows of self-doubt. As she stepped onto the sidewalk, the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over the city skyline. Her cell buzzed in her pocket. Another message? Perhaps Amelia had additional insights. Emma hesitated. The last message had stirred her resolve in ways she never anticipated. What could this one reveal? A sense of anticipation gnawed at her. Nobody could guess what decisions loomed just beyond the horizon, waiting to be confronted. Would she harness this opportunity to create lasting change? Or would she allow her fears to drown out her voice again? The ensuing chapter held the potential for profound transformation, but also uncertainty, pressing against her like a looming storm. What would she choose as the next step in her evolution? Emma took a deep breath, her heart racing as she swiped to open the text. It read simply, "Let us connect this week. I have a project in mind you would be perfect for." The words were concise yet loaded with potential and opportunity that could push her closer to her aspirations. Sitting on a bench at the park, she felt the warmth of the sun break through the canopy of leaves, each ray feeling like a gentle nudge urging her forward. Yet, an unsettling doubt clawed at her thoughts. Was she truly ready for this? Did she have what it takes to step into something bigger, to build a future that could impact those around her? She paused, re-examining her progress since her first speech. The memory surged, vivid and electrifying, the way the crowd responded, how her voice quivered with emotion. That was empowerment crafted from her own struggle. She had once stood where many still lingered, unsure of their worth, and yet with each word she had delivered, she built momentum both for herself and the audience. Another message from Amelia pinged through her reverie: "Let's discuss how we can develop that workshop concept you mentioned." Emma's mind raced. A workshop. Real people would be involved. Could she handle the responsibility of guiding others through their own journeys? She mulled over this question as she watched children play on the grass, their laughter bubbling through the air. They operated without hesitation, their innocence a blissful reminder that self-doubt often stifled the spirit of exploration. Perhaps this was the key, to shed her own apprehension and embrace learning through doing. Feeling resolute, Emma responded affirmatively, suggesting a time for an initial brainstorming session. She penned a set of ideas she had been contemplating for months about inclusivity and empowerment principles she held dear, ones she wished to inject into any potential program. Each word felt like a stepping stone across an expansive river. As the days passed, Emma prepared feverishly for their first meeting. She created an agenda, practiced her articulation in the mirror, and visualized herself bustling with confidence. Yet, every plan left an echo of insecurity lingering at the back of her mind, whispering, "What if this is too ambitious? What if you fail?" When the day arrived, a mix of nerves and determination surged through her like fire. She arrived early at the cafe, a different one this time, filled with bright splashes of art on the walls. The environment pulsated with creativity, a stark contrast to her internal darkness. Amelia entered, bringing with her an easy smile and an aura of enthusiasm that felt infectious. They quickly fell into a productive exchange, mapping out ideas and objectives, each thought sparking another. Emma noticed her own excitement growing. There was an undeniable energy in this collaboration, an elevation she hadn't anticipated. As Amelia drafted the framework for the workshop, Emma blurted out ideas for activities that could break down barriers and inspire candid conversations. Each suggestion built upon the last, a confluence of enthusiasm and passion that surged upward like a phoenix rising. But alongside the adrenaline, the weight of responsibility began to settle. Among the plans, what if they stumbled into a situation that could potentially hurt someone rather than help them? The intricacies of helping others weren't as simple as she had once thought. Suddenly, everything felt different, the stakes seemed higher. Amelia caught the flicker of doubt across Emma's face. "What is holding you back?" she asked, her tone firm yet compassionate. Emma hesitated, her mind a whirlpool of thoughts. Was it fear of failure weighing her down? Or the nagging thoughts that she might not be cut out for this complex endeavor? This was a defining moment. Acknowledging her fear could either shatter her aspirations or illuminate a path forward. She felt her heart race as she prepared to voice her concerns, knowing that this discussion could change everything. Yet, before she could speak, the cafe door flung open. With a bang, pulling their attention. A familiar figure entered, a reminder of past failures and insecurities, someone who had once doubted her potential and spread whispers that still echoed through her, like a ghost haunting the corridors of her ambition. What fresh turmoil would this encounter stir within her as Emma faced the echoes of her past? Would she let them dictate the future she and Amelia were trying to forge? Emma's heart sank as she recognized the figure who had just entered the cafe, Jonathan, a former colleague whose sharp words had often pierced her confidence like daggers. His presence felt suffocating, a palpable reminder of self-doubt that threatened to push her back into the shadowy corners she had been so desperately working to escape. She glanced at Amelia, whose eyes flicked from Emma to Jonathan, the tension in the air thickening like a fog. Emma felt her pulse quicken with a rush of anxiety. The last thing she needed was for Jonathan to inadvertently sabotage her dreams again, to remind her of her perceived shortcomings. Yet as she shifted her gaze back toward him, she noticed something different. The disdain she'd felt was overshadowed by an urge to confront the fear he embodied. "You okay?" Amelia's voice broke through Emma's thoughts, concern etched on her face. "Yeah," Emma replied, though she knew the tightness in her voice betrayed her calm facade. She needed to push past this unease. Wouldn't avoiding Jonathan only empower his ghost to haunt her longer? With a resolve she didn't know she had, Emma stood and met Jonathan's eye. He looked taken aback, as if he didn't expect to be confronted. "Jonathan," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "What a surprise to see you here." He managed a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Emma, hey. I didn't expect to run into you. Neither did I. What brings you in? His attempt at casualness faltered, indicating that perhaps he sensed the change in her. She wasn't the easily intimidated woman he remembered. The nervous girl he could belittle with a few dismissive words had transformed. Just grabbing coffee before heading to a meeting, he replied, his tone bordering on defensive. Right. Well, I hope your meeting goes well, Emma said, her voice dipping slightly as she turned back toward her table. She had felt the familiar swell of anxiety rise within her, but something shifted, a flicker of achievement kindled by her own unexpected assertiveness. As she returned to Amelia, she felt light, almost liberated. Rather than allowing Jonathan's presence to derail her focus, she had taken control of the moment. It was a step forward, one she had never anticipated taking. What was that? Amelia asked, her eyes gleaming with admiration. I don't know, Emma admitted, her thoughts racing. But it felt good. I often run from people like him instead of standing my ground. Head held a bit higher, Emma refocused on their workshop ideas. The day was now tinted with a new energy. She found herself brainstorming even more enthusiastically, rattling off fresh approaches, innovative strategies, and potential exercises designed to draw out vulnerability and strength among participants. With each shared idea, it became evident that this project could be something monumental, a manifestation of her passion and desire to support others in overcoming their hurdles. It was as if every suggestion she made transformed into a brick paving the way toward her future. Yet, in the back of her mind, questions lingered. Had she truly banished Jonathan's ghosts, or could they re-emerge when least expected, unwinding the progress she had fought so hard to build? What if her newfound confidence wavered under the weight of unforeseen challenges? Determined to silence that inner critic, Emma found inspiration in her aspirations, allowing the flicker of possibility to illuminate a path forward. But as Amelia mentioned scheduling the workshop for next month, a chill crept into Emma's certainty. Do you think we can actually pull this off? She asked, the fear bubbling up again. As Amelia began discussing logistics, Emma felt a sense of urgency. She knew the real test was yet to come. Would she allow herself to rise to the occasion, or would she crumble under the weight of expectation? With her heart once again pounding in her chest, she considered her next move. Perhaps it was time to face Jonathan and the repercussions his presence sparked deep within her. What would that confrontation look like? And more importantly, could she maintain her newfound confidence in the face of potential backlash? Emma spent the following days immersed in the whirlwind of brainstorming sessions with Amelia, focused on their workshop while their visions for it flourished. The initial exhilaration spurred by her encounter with Jonathan began to settle into a more manageable energy, one that reminded her of the need for methodical planning. Each meeting bred creativity alongside anxiety as she wrestled with the looming presence of her past Jonathan. The cafe, once a space filled with dread at the thought of a chance meeting, had transformed into a sanctuary for ideas and growth. Yet, despite the positive atmosphere, a lingering uncertainty shadowed her progress. She found herself wrestling with the idea of confronting Jonathan more directly. Every time she considered approaching him, apprehensive thoughts crowded her mind. What if he dismissed her attempts at advancement? What if he belittled her efforts again? With these concerns gnawing at her, Emma sought clarity by revisiting her personal values and goals. One evening, while organizing her notes on the workshop, she stumbled upon a quote that struck her with clarity: "The best way to predict the future is to create it." The weight of the words ignited a decision within her. If she wanted to shape a future that left her self-doubt behind, she had to tackle Jonathan head-on, rather than allowing his past influence to dictate her current journey. The night before meeting him, sleep eluded her, replaced with thoughtful strategies. What if she set boundaries for their conversation? What if, instead of allowing him to spiral their interactions into a self-defeating dialogue, she framed them to express her standpoint? With each scenario she envisioned, she felt a mix of determination and fear swell within her, rivaling with the shadows of her previous insecurities. "Emma?" Amelia's voice broke through the stillness of her thoughts. You've been pretty quiet since that day at the cafe. You haven't said much about the workshop. Fingers poised on her notes, Emma hesitated. I'm thinking about something personal, she finally admitted, the weight of the moment hinged on her next words. What is it? You know I'm here to support you, Amelia encouraged, her eyes steady and understanding. Taking a deep breath, Emma began to unfold her plan. I want to talk to Jonathan. I know it sounds crazy, but I think I need to confront him. Not just for closure but to really show myself that I've moved on. Amelia's expression shifted from concern to admiration. That's brave, Emma. But have you thought about what you'll say? That's a huge step. Emma nodded, her chest tightening with excitement. I've thought about how to articulate my journey, to express that I won't let his past alter my path moving forward. I think I need to show him that I'm different now. A confrontation is one thing, but what if he reacts negatively? Amelia probed, her protective instincts kicking in. The fear of his reaction is what has been holding me captive, Emma reflected. If I portray my growth, no words can take that away from me. If I can share that, then perhaps I owe it to myself to embrace the uncertainty that might follow. As the days ticked down toward their meeting, Emma fortified her resolve, gathering strategies and rebuttals, constructing a mental shield layered with self-worth and growth. Through her education and support, she knew this wasn't just about her relationship with Jonathan, it was a clash of her old self and the burgeoning woman she aimed to embody. In the dim light of the cafe, Emma readied herself for what was next. How she would present herself in this confrontation could redefine her narrative. As she crossed the threshold into her fear, she couldn't shake the feeling that while confronting Jonathan was a monumental step, it was merely the beginning of an even larger, transformative experience that lay in wait. Would he see her for who she was now, or would the past come creeping back with his sharp-edged words? The moment of truth loomed closer, and Emma felt both trepidation and an exhilarating spark of hope. What awaited her on the other side of this confrontation would shape her future irreversibly. Would she be able to maintain the courage she had cultivated, or would this encounter revoke the progress she had worked so hard to achieve? The cafe buzzed with life as Emma stepped inside, the familiar scent of coffee mingling with the murmur of conversations. Her heart raced, she could feel the weight of her intentions pressing down, an invisible force urging her forward. The comforting hum of the place contrasted starkly with her inner turmoil, where anxiety and determination danced a precarious tango. Spotting Jonathan in a corner, his casual posture and relaxed demeanor sparked an uneasy sense of familiarity. It had been too easy to conjure memories of their previous exchanges, the tension, the misunderstandings, and the slights that had shaped her into the person she was now. But Emma pushed aside the flashbacks, focusing instead on the purpose that led her there. As she approached, every step felt both deliberate and hesitant. What exactly would she say? Suddenly, the meticulously crafted rebuttals floated away like wisps of smoke. She drew her breath in sharply, reminded of that foundational quote about creating one's future. In that moment, she remembered the workshop, the empowerment she aimed to instill in others, and how this was a critical step in embracing her own. "Hey, Emma," Jonathan greeted, his smile a benign preface to their interaction. Yet, it felt charged, his mere presence stirred remnants of lingering insecurities. "Hi, Jonathan," she managed, her voice firm, revealing a tinge of the resolve she had cultivated. "I've been thinking a lot since we last spoke." "Oh?" His casual tone seemed dismissive, correctly picking up on the unanticipated seriousness that was beginning to brew. Emma gathered her composure. "I came here to talk about what happened between us. I've realized that I've spent too long worrying about your opinion, about your views on my journey." She watched his expression closely, searching for acknowledgement, but all she saw was mild interest. "Okay," he responded, a hint of skepticism in his tone. "I realize now that I don't need your validation to move forward," Emma pressed. "I've grown, and I want you to know that what happened in the past, how you belittled my efforts, it impacted me profoundly. But it won't define my future. The words flowed with an authority she hardly recognized, each syllable strengthening her narrative. Jonathan shifted slightly, a bemused smirk creeping in. "Wow, sounds like you've really worked on yourself." There was a sting in his casual remark, but Emma clung to her focus. This was not about his flippancy, this was about her reclamation. "I have," she replied, fierce and unapologetic. "I'm here asking you to recognize that, and maybe even acknowledge your role in it. I won't allow our past to inhibit my development any longer." He leaned back, crossing his arms, a challenge glimmering in his eyes. "What do you expect me to say? Apologies don't make you a better person." The air thickened, and Emma felt the encroaching darkness of her self-doubt. But then she took a breath, remembering the way she'd prepared to face this confrontation. "No, but owning up to your mistakes can make a difference. It can show growth." In that moment, as their words collided, Emma felt a shift. She was no longer the anxious girl from before, she embodied the very determination she preached. She knew he might not change his perspective, but that couldn't diminish her growth. Jonathan's smirk faltered, replaced by a flicker of unease. "You think I owe you some kind of accountability? If you can't acknowledge how your words have affected me, then maybe this is exactly why I had to come here," Emma said, her voice steady. "This isn't just about you. This is about reclaiming my narrative, and I want to step into the future as the person I've become." As silence enveloped them, Emma could feel new vitality expanding within her, a confidence unsettling yet invigorating. What if this confrontation had the power to alter both their paths? But as Jonathan's expression shifted to contemplation, Emma realized that the road ahead was just beginning. The realization of her own strength brought with it uncertainty about what else she might have to confront in the days to come. Would this moment reshape Jonathan's perception, or would she merely serve as a reminder of past grievances? As the tension lingered like a thick fog, Emma prepared for the next wave of revelations. What hidden truths might surface now that she had taken the first step? Emma's heart raced as she absorbed the silence that settled following her declaration. Jonathan's features twisted into an expression that straddled disbelief and introspection, a hesitant recognition flickering behind his polished demeanor. "You really believe that, don't you?" He studied her, seemingly weighing his next words carefully. "That you have the power to change your narrative?" "Absolutely," Emma affirmed, her voice steadying. "I've spent too long letting others dictate how I see myself. I'm here not just for closure but to claim the narrative I deserve. I refuse to be a punchline anymore." His gaze softened, the pretense slowly evaporating into an acknowledgement of her growth. There was no need to dwell on the past, and for the first time since the confrontation began, Emma felt the power of her own convictions pushing her forward. "Honestly, I never meant to hurt you," he admitted, his tone becoming more genuine. I didn't understand the impact of my words. I was caught in my own world. It's easy to forget how fragile others are when you're only focused on yourself." His admission hung in the air between them, heavy and unaccompanied by any expectation of absolution. Emma nodded, the gravity of the moment settling within her. "Understanding is the first step. But for me, it's all about moving on. I'm working to become a voice for women who struggle, just like I did. If I can shift from victim to advocate, then I think we all have that potential." She could see him absorbing her candor, the layers of her journey piercing through his defenses. There was a depth to this confrontation, a healing process that sought to reconcile both their pasts but also pave a brighter road into the future. Jonathan moved slightly, a crease forming between his brows. "I respect that, Emma. I really do. I can't change what I said, but I can support what you're doing now. I mean that. If there's ever a chance for me to help." Emma felt her brows lift slightly in surprise. Help? It spoke volumes that he considered stepping into accountability, even if a mere participation rather than a gesture of solidarity. "Why not? You've grown into someone I can actually look up to," he responded with a sense of humility that surprised them both. I think it's time we start translating our narratives into something productive." There it was, a glimmer of transformation, not merely for her but for him as well. Emma took a breath, her heart swelling with the potential for growth beyond this encounter. As the conversation shifted to practical ideas, frames of influence began to align. With Jonathan's unexpected willingness to support her initiative, Emma realized her journey was expanding into unexplored territory: collaboration. It opened vistas of possibility with woman's empowerment at the forefront. As the discussion flowed, plans began to form. They spoke about partnership connections, shared visions, and dream formulations, a fusion of Emma's newfound confidence and Jonathan's change of heart. "Emma," he said eventually, a reflective tone easing his voice. "I want you to know that you can count on me. This isn't the end of our collaboration, it's just the beginning." For Emma, the moment felt pivotal, an emblem of her growth reaffirmed. That day, inside the walls of a humble cafe, she stepped into her legacy of resilience while recognizing that true transformation could ripple outward, reshaping both hers and Jonathan's lives. She left with her heart light, a warmth threading through her chest. Each step down the street brought with it a deeper sense of agency. How much further could she push into the world's boundless potential? Emma glanced upward, embracing the promise of tomorrow. She was prepared to channel her energy into the workshop, to inspire and uplift those around her. As she wound down her journey that day, it was infused with envisioned possibilities for further evolution, her achievements retaking root within her soul. Every leap she took held implications far exceeding herself. Emma Sullivan had conquered a long-standing punchline and discovered her power, not just as a woman but as an architect of collaboration and wonder. As she returned home that evening, the golden sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, reminding her that change is always a blend of endings and new beginnings. Emma stepped forward, ready to embrace her legacy. This was her moment to inspire, to advocate, and to redefine herself in the world. She had conquered so much, and through it all, emerged not just as a fighter in the ring, but as a beacon of hope for those still standing in the shadows of their own insecurities. It's time to rally together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and theories about Emma's incredible journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.